Hola, I'm back. I'm back with another sewing video. I really like the Milkmaid dress that I made in my last video and I wanted something similar to it. So I picked a cottagecore-esque kind of dress because I don't know, I really like the look of cottagecore, I guess. So the dress I picked to make was the Anastasia.
Like that Russian babe, Anastasia!
I'm gonna call it Anastasia. The Anastasia dress from JoanaPattern, who is on Etsy. I'll link that in the description. This is the pattern. It's a printed pattern, so you're gonna have to print it and piece it together. I cut out all my pieces. I already prepped everything. I cut out the pattern, taped it together, I cut out the pieces. It's ready to sew. But first, before I get sewing, I'm gonna talk a bit because I like to talk. I know, shut up, right? I'm gonna talk about the adjustments that I made to the pattern to be able to better fit me. Okay, I have the size chart right here. This is a European pattern. So the size that I chose was a size 18 just because it was closest to my measurements. Specifically, the waist and the hips were closest to my measurements. However, I always have to adjust the bust for basically anything I make. I always have to make it bigger. Because I had to make the bodice front a little bit bigger, I had to make some adjustments, which I will show you right now. Here is the bodice front. As you can see, I kind of Mickey Mouse the pattern and I added some wrapping paper just to give me that extra length. What I did was I traced the bottom of the what is this? I don't even know what I'm looking at. This is the dress top. No shit, it's the dress top. So what I did was I grabbed some wrapping paper and I traced the bottom of this bodice front onto the wrapping paper because it has a slight curve. And then I extended it down and I added about, I think, 2 inches to it. But since I did this to the bodice front, I have to do the same thing to the back. Here's the back piece. And what I did was I cut a line kind of in the middle under the arm side and I extended it, well, kind of like a slash and spread. I just cut it and spread it. So I added like the same amount of inches from the bodice front to here. And it also has a dart. So all I did was I measured what the dart was originally and then I just did the same thing and kind of redid the dart. The last adjustment I made was to the skirt. As you can see, I lengthened the skirt a little bit. I'm kind of short. No, I am short. I'm 5 feet tall. So I wanted it to be T-length, and I think all the comments on the Etsy shop said that it hits about the knee. I wanted it a little bit longer just because I like T-length. So I added the wrapping paper to it to extend it, and yeah, that's it. Okay, for the fabric, I bought this fabric at Joann's. It's just a off-white quilting cotton. I bought 5 yards of this fabric and it was just barely enough. Instructions do say that you need about 2.3 through 2.5 yards of fabric, but I bought 5 yards and I don't have much left. That's it. I'm not sure if it's because I bought a 44-inch wide fabric, probably, but 5 yards barely cut it. So just be aware of that. I'm not sure if the 2.5 yards was for like a fabric that is wider. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now and I'm gonna get sewing. Let's go. For this dress, I decided to do a mock-up, but I only did a mock-up for the bodice portion of the dress. It fit pretty well, but it was a little too long in the torso. But overall, I was pretty happy with the mock-up. I then grabbed my 2 bodice front pieces, ran them through my serger, and then sewed them together all the way up to the notches that were indicated. I ironed that, and that's how it should look like. Then I had to gather the bottom of the bodice front from the notches to the center seams on both sides. Next, I pinned my waistband to my bodice front, making sure to match the side seams and the center seams, and then adjusting my gathers accordingly. Next, I pinned the lining of the waistband on the top and sewed it down. This will help hide the raw seams. Then I pinned and sewed these 2 pieces together to create one piece. Once that was done, I grabbed my bodice back pieces, pinned the darts, and sewed them closed. All that was left to do was join my bodice front and my bodice back together at the side seams. Okay, I have my sleeve right here. I'm going to sew it at 1 centimeter and then I'm going to overlock it. I'm going to go do that. And so I did do that. Here's me doing that. Okay, I pinned both sleeves onto the bodice right there. That's how it looks like from the inside. So I'm going to sew around. The f did I do? Oh, I'm gonna go and sew all of this down and then I'm going to run it through the overlock, and I might stop there just because it's kind of getting late. It's already 6:15 and I'm almost done with the bodice. I might do some work off camera, maybe. I have to see. I have to see because I need to have dinner and then I gotta watch my shows. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Okay, this is the last thing I'm gonna do tonight. I pressed and folded the whole neckline all the way to the back. I also did it on the sleeve. I'm hemming the sleeve, same thing. This thing is full of pins, as you can see, and I've already stabbed myself. So I'm just gonna hem it. Another thing I did that I'm gonna get to tomorrow is I had to make 4 strips, almost like bias tape. I mean, you could use bias tape if you want. I just cut 4 long strips and then I pressed it kind of like a bias strip, and this is what's gonna make the ruffle on the top. So I have that prep for tomorrow. I'm going to sew this and then I'm gonna call it a night and I'll come back tomorrow. Hello, it's 2 a.m. It's actually past 2 a.m. I just got out of the shower and I'm ready for bed, but I wanted to show you guys the only thing that I did today with the dress because I didn't do jack shit except for pinning on those bias straps that I previously showed, because I'm not going to touch this project until Monday. So I just kind of wanted to check in to show what I've done, which is one thing, and I guess show how I'm going to sew it. I should really be going to bed, but here we are. Okay, here is the bodice front. This is the wrong side of the fabric. I grabbed those bias-like strips and I pinned it all on the front, and the strip extends all the way into the sleeves. Mine is like a little bit too long, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it and then tuck it under and fold it like that. Kind of like what I did right here. It's folded in. What you have to do is you have to sew on the top very close to the edge. You're going to sew this bottom part too, and it's going to create a tunnel. You also have to do it with the bottom of the sleeve right here. I've already marked 1.5 centimeters, so I'm going to do the exact same thing and lay this strip right here like that. And I'm going to pin it, and then I'm going to sew here and here. This is ready to sew, so I'm going to sew it. Hola. Okay, where I last left off, I was adding a casing to my sleeves right here and to the neckline and the shoulder. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to sew my neckties right here. Here it is. I'm going to sew the neckties in half because it's a strip, and then I'm going to turn them inside out. And then I'm going to like stick this elastic in the necktie and sew it. I'm sure it's going to make more sense once I actually do it so that you can see, because this part is going to like gather the shoulder part, and then this is what we're gonna do to pull it. And I also have the elastics for the sleeves that'll like gather it as well. So I'm going to get started on that. I sewed my strip down at 1 centimeter, I believe, and then I trimmed down the excess seam allowance. I clipped it a little bit at the end, stuck a bobby pin in there, or a safety pin actually, and then I fed it through to turn it inside out. Once that was done, I grabbed my elastic piece, stuck it in the end a little bit, and sewed it down with a zigzag stitch. I have one of the elastics right here. I'm just going to add a safety pin to the elastic part, and I'm going to run it through the little channel that I made right here on the neck. On this side, elastic first, duh, because I pinned the safety pin through the elastic. And I'm just gonna slowly run it through. You know what would suck? I put on red lipstick today. As I was putting it on, I kind of got a little worried that I was going to get some on this dress because that would really suck, especially just staining it even before it's finished. Fucking terrible. Ew. I feel like usually there's a lot I want to talk about, and then when I sit in front of the camera, I feel like I'm a shy girl, and then I don't know what to say. And I think it's partly because I'm not used to being in front of a camera. I don't like taking selfies or any of that, or if I do, it's like very rare. And so when I get in front of the camera to film these videos, I feel like I kind of forget who I am, or I forget I have a personality. And yeah. Okay, it's through. I'm gonna try to pin that down because I'm going to like sew right there to keep it anchored. All of the sleeve is elastic. I'm going to pin right here so that the tie doesn't go into where the elastic is supposed to be, because only the shoulder is supposed to be elasticized. I'm gonna do the same on the other side, but I'll probably do that off camera because it's the same thing. And then I'll come back for the sleeves. I just have to add the elastic to the arm, and I've tied it, I've gathered it. I'm just holding it back here. I'm gonna add the elastic now. Okay, so I think I am around the same point I was with my mock-up. I've added the elastic onto the shoulders and the bottom of the sleeve. And then this part is the ties. Looks pretty good. I like it. It's a little see-through, a little bit. I think it's mostly because it's not lined up here at the bust. It's just lined at the waist part. I think this is where I'm going to stop for the day, just because I have to review the instructions for the skirt part, because I'm going to now start on the skirt portion of this dress. It has pockets, and I think I'm traumatized with pockets because of my pant video. So I just want to really make sure that I'm looking at the instructions, I'm reading them correctly, and I'm installing them correctly, because I don't want a whole pocket fiasco that I had like in the last video. Tomorrow, I'm going to start with the pockets. I'm happy where I'm at, even though I feel like I'm a little bit behind on this dress. Like, I was supposed to wear it last Saturday, and I'm barely finished with the bodice until tomorrow. Haha, psych, just kidding. I actually do have a little bit more time to do this. So I rewatched the video and I took notes on how to attach the pockets and finish this dress. So I'm gonna do that now. Here is my skirt front, and here's my one side of the pocket. So you're supposed to lay the pocket front sides together, and then you're gonna sew at 1 centimeter from notch to notch. I've sewn the pockets, and what I'm gonna do now is where the notch is, I'm gonna cut very close to the stitch line. Oh, my hand's shaking. Oh, I think that's crooked, but whatever. After I cut it, I'm going to flip it this way, and I'm gonna pull out the... Maybe I should have laid this down on a table. Okay, here's the pocket. I sewed it down notch to notch, and then I clipped it really close to the stitching line, but not through it, so it doesn't come apart. And I'm going to flip it this way and pull out the little tabs, and I'm going to press it. And then I'm going to stitch very close to this edge right here, almost like what is it called? Like an understitching. So I'm going to sew really close to here. And I lost my audio here, but I understitched it, turned it the other way, and then I flipped it around, pulling out the little tabs, kind of making like this little U shape right here. Then I placed my other pocket piece on top and just sewed the pocket piece all the way around. Once that was done, I flipped it and pulled out the tabs once again. Next, we're going to finish attaching the pocket to the skirt front. As you can see, it's not attached right here, so we're going to sew down using the other stitching line as a guideline, making sure not to close the pocket. So all the way down to the bottom. But before I stitched it down, I ran the bottom of the pocket through my serger to finish the edge. Then I sewed it. As you can see right here, here's the sewing line, and I didn't close the pocket. Once that was done, I gave it a good press. Now I'm attaching my skirt front to my skirt back, making sure to match the notches to the pocket. I pinned that down and sewed it, This was actually my first time winning bobbin chicken. You can see right here that I had a little bit of bobbin left, so I'm happy about that. After that, I ran the side seams through my serger. I got kombucha in my cup. The last thing I did on this skirt was attach the pockets, and I joined the front and the backs together, and I also serged them. Next, what I have to do is I have to run 2 gathering stitches all across the top, gather it, and line it up with my bodice and attach it. After that, oh, you know what? No. First, I'm gonna hem it just because it's easier to hem because it's just like a flat piece of fabric, and I feel like it'll be more difficult to hem when it's gathered and attached to the skirt. So I'm going to hem my skirt first, and then I'm going to gather it, attach it to the bodice, and then I'm gonna add a zipper. Hopefully I can do all of that today. We'll see. I'm gonna get started. Right now I'm just pressing my hem to make it easier for me to sew. I took that to my sewing machine, hemmed it, and I also ran 2 gathering stitches to gather the skirt. Okay, so it's the morning, and right now what I'm doing is I've gathered my skirt and I am attaching it to the bodice. And the way I'm doing that is I am first pinning the center front of the skirt to the bodice, and then I'm lining up the side seam of the skirt to the side seam of the bodice, and then I guess the end of it to the end of the skirt. And why I'm doing that is because I want the gathers to be evenly distributed. So I'm just kind of gonna sit here and adjust my gathers and pin where it needs to be pinned, and then I'm just gonna sew it down. So I'll probably be doing this for like, I don't know, a good 15 minutes. I'm gonna watch Bridgerton again. Talk to you later. Toodles. I finished pinning, so I'm gonna sew it all together now, and then I think I just have to serge it, press it, and then I need to install the zipper, and then I think I'm done. Well, no, then I have to close the back, and then I think I'm done, which is great because I think I've been working on this for like a month. So let me start sewing. Ooh, what did I do? What is... Do you guys remember that walkaway dress challenge? How, they said that you start it like in the day and then you go out for lunch or something and then you like come back and finish it? Something like that. I don't really remember. But like the whole deal was that it was just so fast and easy to make. And the way that I am so slow with projects, I feel like if I were to do that dress challenge, it would literally take me like a month to do just because of how bad I am at like turnover with projects. This project probably should have taken anyone else a week, and I've been on it for, I don't even know. I've been on it for a long time, and I probably should have done this faster, but I feel like I am just really bad at doing projects for myself. But I'm almost done, and hopefully I can start a new project soon. It will not be the walkaway dress though. Yeah, I'm just babbling right here. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna get started again. Right here, I'm just removing the basting stitches on my gathers so that I can run it through my serger. Hello everyone. My dress is done. I finished it last night. However, I really like this mock-up. So I'm going to make it into the top because this pattern is like a dress version and then you can also make a top with it. I kind of got ahead of myself and I did 2 of the steps already. I'm just going to walk through what I did and how I'm going to finish this so that I can have both the top and the dress. So let's finish this. So the top has this extra pattern piece right here. It's for the center part right here. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to run it through the serger on one side. I actually did 2 sides. You're supposed to lay it right side to right side. You're supposed to leave like a little bit on the top and you line it up from the bottom. I've already serged the bottom edge of it and I sewed it down, so my bad. But you sew it down, you flip it, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold the edge down and then you're gonna fold it like that, in half so it looks like that. And then you're gonna sew right here. I've already done it to the other side. It's sewed down. You see, you can see the stitch line. So I'm gonna do that to the other side right here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hem it. It says to do 1 centimeter, but I have a short waist, so I'm gonna probably fold it twice. And then I'm going to make buttonholes and sew buttons, and that's pretty much it. Here are the badly aligned buttonholes that I made and me sewing the buttons onto the top. After that, I took a very important break before taking my top to the ironing board and pressing it. Hi! I'm done with my blue top, but I'm actually jumping back into the dress because I didn't make the adjustments I was supposed to, so it doesn't fit right. And I was thinking maybe just keeping it like that, but then I thought better on it. And if it doesn't fit me right, I don't think I would wear it. So I'm just gonna go back and readjust it. The waist is way too long. I'm gonna show you. My waist is like right here, and I need to bring this up a little bit so it fits me like that. But also the back is really long. I don't know if you can see I have all this excess. Well, it might also be too big, but I feel like if I pull the waist up, because it's a little too long, it'll fix some of the issues. So I have to remove the zipper, remove the skirt, take out like the serging edges that I did, and just adjust it. But first I'm gonna mark it with like a pen. I'm using this friction pen, so I'm just gonna fold it to my waist, and then I'm just gonna do some little marks. So I'm going to do that now. Hi! So I've started on the dress again. I've already removed all the serger stitches, and I've also removed the zipper right here. My issue right now is that the skirt is gathered, and the only thing that's holding the gathers in place is the stitch that I did to connect it to the bodice. So if I remove those stitches to take apart the bodice, then my gathers are also going to come apart. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to run like a really long gathering stitch line right under where the stitching line to connect it to the bodice is. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to unpick it. Then I'm going to take the bodice apart and shorten it and then reattach it and then finish the dress hopefully soon. So I'm going to get started again on this because I really want to finish this dress and I feel like it's taking me forever. These are the last adjustments I made to my dress, and now it's time for the reveal. Okay everyone, the dress is done. I'm really satisfied with it, and I'm happy that I'm going to be able to add this to my wardrobe. I'm gonna get right into what I liked about the finished dress and what I didn't like. I'm gonna start with the things that I really liked about this dress. First, it's really comfortable. It's very flattering. I feel like this is one of those dresses that I'm gonna be using a lot. Looking at it in the mirror, I really like that it's white, but I feel that probably in the future I'll dye it some other color. Even though the white is really nice, but I feel like with a different color I would like it better, so maybe I'll dip my toes into dyeing in the future. As for the pattern, the instructions were really clear, which I was happy about. It was like step by step. You could see everything that, you know, was going on with the instructions, so It was really easy to follow, and I think this is really easy to make for a beginner. If you're a beginner, I highly recommend the pattern. As for things that I didn't like about the dress, they're not necessarily like a reflection of the pattern. They're just issues that I typically have that are specific to me because of my shape. So I always have to like make adjustments to patterns because I'm very short. I have like a super short torso and super short legs. Well, they're not like super short, but anyway, I have like short everything, and so I always have to make adjustments, make things shorter. So I mean, I have that issue when I buy commercial clothing, so why wouldn't I have that issue with patterns? Like with this dress, something that was too long was the torso, so I had to redo it. It still ended up being a little bit too long, just like a little bit. My waist is like right here, and then it needs a little tiny bit. Same with the back. My back is short, but since I need extra room here, it's like my back is shorter than my front. I did shorten it a bit, but like you could see it's still a little too long. It's probably because I adjusted it wrong. I think it's fine. I think it looks great. It's not perfect, but it looks good. I do wish I would have made the pocket openings a little bigger. I don't know if it's because I have like big meaty claws.
Big meaty claws!
But I think I need a bigger pocket opening. One thing that I didn't do that I probably should have done was I didn't interface where the zipper was or where the buttons were on my top. Probably should have done that, but I didn't. I guess that's all I have to say. If you found anything interesting in this video, please feel free to share in the comments down below. I would love to read anything. Throw in a like while you're down there. That's it. Toodles!